everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you've ever felt that constant pressure to achieve, prove yourself, always measure up, then I think today's Deep Dive is really going to speak to you. We're looking at some ancient texts, specifically Romans chapter 4, verses 1 to 8, because they hold this truth that kind of flips our modern ideas, right on their head, our goal. To unpack why righteousness, our standing with God, isn't really about what we do, it's about what God has already done. Okay, so let's get into it. The central figure here is Abraham. Our sources really zero in on his story, especially for September 9, 2025, and it challenges us right away. Romans 4, verse 3 puts it so simply. Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Sounds straightforward, maybe, but there's so much depth there.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, and our sources highlight this contrast so sharply. If Abraham was, justified, made right by his actions, his works, then yeah, he'd have something to boast about. He could say, look what I did.
Right, like earning a paycheck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the text says, not before God. That boasting, it disappears. Paul's point, which the sources really unpack, is that a wage is something you're due for work done.
Okay.
It's not a gift. But this passage, it stresses that God justifies the ungodly. How? Their belief. He counts their faith as righteousness.
Wow, that's radical.
But it is. It means God declares people righteous based on trust, not perfect performance.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't undermine God's authority as creator, the one who spoke everything into being. It actually calls for this deep humility, acknowledging his sovereign grace.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, I think, especially looking at our culture today. It feels like everywhere you turn, the message is prove yourself, build that resume, earn your spot, earn your worth. It's all performance-based.
Constantly striving.
Totally. Our value feels tied to what we produce, doesn't it? But then, like you just laid out, these texts have God saying something completely different. Something like, stop striving. Just trust me. I've done the work already.
It's a direct collision, isn't it?
It really is. Not just tension, a full-on challenge to how we often think.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, faith isn't about trying harder to be good. It's not about hitting some impossible mark. It's about, trusting deeper, trusting what God has already done. I remember one source mentioning someone very driven, always chasing the next thing, but feeling empty. And grappling with this passage was what started to shift things towards understanding this unearned acceptance. And the texts bring in King David, too, to really hammer this home.
Ah, yes.
He said, and the sources point this out clearly, blessed are those whose lawless deeds are forgiven, whose sins are covered. And critically, blessed is the man against whom the Lord will not count his sin.
Not count his sin.
Exactly. It's beyond just forgiveness. It's a declaration of righteousness, totally apart from his own efforts.
Yeah.
A free gift. Grace covering everything.
So, okay, let's bring this home. What does this mean for you listening right now? Are you just exhausted? Tired from that treadmill of trying to be enough? Always feeling like you need to prove your worth, maybe to others, maybe even to God. What we're seeing here is that God isn't asking for your perfection. He's inviting you to believe, to trust. Think about Abraham. He wasn't perfect, didn't have all the answers, far from it, but he trusted God's promise. And that trust, it changed everything. God counted that as righteousness. So we've kind of uncovered this really profound shift today, haven't we? Moving away from striving and performance and into resting in God's grace, from trying to earn acceptance to just receiving it.
Receiving it as this incredible, unmerited gift, which really leads to a crucial question for you to think about. How would your life, your identity, your sense of worth, your security, how would all that genuinely change if you truly, deeply believed you are already accepted? Not because of what you do or don't do, but based entirely on what God has already done, received through faith.
That is a powerful thought to sit with. Really transformative. We'd encourage you, reflect on that today. Maybe choose gratitude, choose trust, try living in the freedom of that grace. And perhaps, share that hope with someone else who might be stuck on that same performance treadmill.